Well, hello, and welcome to Trash with a capital T, where we give trashy books and movies the love they truly deserve. And some deserve more than others. I'm your host, Bobby. New videos are posted here every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And today, we are revisiting a familiar series that I haven't touched for a little bit. I need a little break from it. But I'm going to be diving back in probably every other month, just for my own sanity. Yes, we are looking at Left Behind, The Kids. We are up to book 7, Busted. I am not going to do much recap in this video because we're so far into the series. If you are interested, there is a playlist covering all my Left Behind books over on my channel. Starting with book 1, I even cover a prequel book for the adult series, although don't expect me to go back to the adult series very often. That book was painful. These books have the benefit of at least being short. Although this one is interesting. This is probably one of the shortest ones that I've read in the series. Goodreads listed as 114 pages. This is 111 pages long. It packs in so much plot. So much happens so quickly. Big details that should actually be dwelled on kind of get rushed through. This is the book where Nikolai Carpathia, the series Antichrist, signs a peace treaty with Israel, which is supposed to kick off the tribulation. The tribulation is where all of these horrible things are going to start happening and people are going to be dying in droves. So this is the kickoff point to literally the end of the world until Christ returns again in the series. Okay, I'm going to put this disclaimer at the front of the video. I have done this in the other videos. So going into these reviews, understand I'm reviewing these as entertainment. I myself am not a Christian. I am not a believer. But I am not here to make fun of people's personal beliefs. That's not my goal. If I sound snarky, it is strictly because of the writing quality and plotting and stuff like that that I am noticing in these books. I am not here to make anyone feel bad about their beliefs. If you believe that the rapture is going to happen, that's fine. I grew up in a very conservative Christian environment, went to Christian schools from grade school to high school. I know that world. I grew up I was in that world when these books were coming out, when Left Behind was at its peak. So I get it. I do. I've just since moved away from that, but I know some people still hold true to this being their belief system. I don't think this is the best telling of that belief system, but we'll get into that as we get into the review. So the Left Behind the Kids series follows 4 kids. We have Judd, who's about 16, 17. I want to say at this point he's 17. We have Judd, Vicky, who's about 15, maybe 16. She's 15, 16. Lionel, who is 13, and Ryan, who is 12. He's the youngest. This book, as with the last couple of books, really focuses on Judd and Vicky. Ryan gets a few little moments. Lionel gets nothing to do. He has had nothing to do for the past couple books. He really hasn't had much play since probably the 3rd or 4th book. I don't know if that is just because they're amping up a story for him later, if they really just have too many kids and they don't know what to do. So at this point, I don't know if adding him back into the story would help at all because this is such a jumbled mess. Where we left off in book 6, the kids were releasing an underground newspaper called The Underground, where they were telling kids about the prophecy of the rapture. And they were trying to spread it through their school, which had suddenly cracked down on any kind of religious expression or discussion. And the school was getting on to them. And Vicky is the one who gets stuck in the crosshairs because a friend of hers, Shelley, her mother turns Vicky in after Vicky brings Pastor Bruce Barnes, the kind of leader of these kids, to Shelley's trailer to try and talk to them about Jesus. It goes badly. So now Vicky is in the crosshairs of the school administration, and because of that, she ends up getting sent to a youth detention center. Not much happens in the youth detention center. She meets a young girl. I want to say the girl's name is Josie. She'll probably come back, and I'll probably remember her name when she plays more of a part in the story. But pretty quickly, she is taken out of the detention center, and she is sent to a foster home, the Steins. And while she is there, she learns that they have a daughter who they keep claiming is dead. Turns out she is not dead. It turns out that she had actually become heretic, and she had accepted Jesus because the Steins are Orthodox Jews, and they cannot accept that a family member has left the Jewish faith. one thing that really comes up in this a lot, and if this is a trigger for you, if you're of the Jewish faith and this bothers you, heads up. This is big on the Jews for Jesus movement. A big part of the prophecy is that you are going to have these two messengers who actually become characters in this book, Eli and Moishi, who are going to start preaching the word of Christ. And that is going to turn a large swath of Jews to Jesus, which is what we start seeing here, especially after a rabbi, and he is a main character from the main books, but he kind of becomes a character here, kind of. I'm trying to find his name. Here we go. Dr. Sion Ben Judah. He actually is good friends with Buck, who is a main character in the adult series. Sion Ben Judah talks to the witnesses. He had already been doing all this research, and Ben Judah declares that Jesus is the Messiah that they have been searching for. In the background of all of this, we have a couple things coming into play. So we have Nikolai Carpathia, the Antichrist, signing the treaty with Israel. Israel is going to be rebuilding the main big temple in Jerusalem while moving this Muslim temple to another location in New Babylon. I know this is really confusing, and it's weird because this is all big stuff and it plays big parts in the adult books, but it's just all kind of in the background here. So it feels very like this should be important, but we don't get a lot of time with it. To add on to that, we now also, while Vicky is dealing with all her domestic drama and the school drama, Pastor Bruce Barnes and Judd now are in Israel to meet the witnesses and meet Ben Judah and meet his family. And there's a big thing at a stadium that is just a preaching moment, and then Judd shipped back to America. Don't know why. And as things wrap up, the book kind of moves back to Vicky, and we learn that a teacher at the school who we thought was a bad guy was actually a good guy who was working undercover to try to protect the kids. And the people we thought were good were bad. And then Vicky gets sent back to the detention center because she is trying to protect the people writing the newsletter. So she goes to destroy Judd's computers and gets caught. Luckily, one character who I liked in one of the previous books, Sergeant Tom Fogarty, he shows up again and helps Vicky and Judd out by actually screwing up the computer so they can't get to the files and prove that the kids are the ones writing the underground. Especially after a teacher at the school is claiming he is the one who is running everything. So for now, the kids are safe. Although this ends on a cliffhanger of Judd realizing they're running out of money. Like, I don't know why. It had nothing to do with anything. I guess that's where book 8 is going to start playing into, where we have to figure out finances for these kids, which is going to happen. I mean, I'm actually surprised that they're going to do that because these kids have been living on their own. And that's part of the reason they're trying to be more secretive, because if they get found out, the younger kids specifically, are going to get sent into the foster system, and who knows what will happen. They won't be able to protect each other. This book is a hot mess. If the plot description I gave you sounded confusing, it's because the book is confusing. Oh my God. This was definitely, it's weird that this was a filler book because this covers such a momentous occasion. Like, this is the start of the tribulation. This is the start of the big end of the world story. Everything up until here has been prologue. So why is this book one of the shortest in the series so far and so badly done? There are sections of this book where it feels like they just took the outline, added maybe 2 or 3 lines of dialogue, and printed that. I don't know if they were running into deadline problems because they were writing the adult books at the same time they were writing these. If you go on Goodreads, it looks like this actually had a ghostwriter attached to it. So maybe he was given no time to do it, or he just wasn't prepared to do it. The ghostwriter is Chris Fabry, who it looks like wrote either the novelization for War Room, the Christian movie, or he wrote the book that War Room is based off of, which is very weird because War Room focuses on, if I remember correctly, a black family, and Chris Fabry is very white. I don't know. And I don't really want to look into it that much because War Room was not the most interesting thing for me. But I know some people love that movie. And if you do, good for you. Enjoy what you enjoy. As I always say, love what you love. But back to this mess. I am very disappointed in this book because this could have been one of the better books. A lot of stuff's happened. There are so many characters that get introduced here. We have characters coming back. Like, so much stuff happens, but it feels like such a rush job that I really do feel like the schedule for these books was maybe getting ahead of them and they just couldn't keep up. So they rushed this one out to kind of push things forward. And this is 111 pages. Don't let Goodreads lie to you. Goodreads says it's 114. No. The story itself is 111 pages. And that includes... Oh, they didn't even cut... Good. They didn't number them. There's a preview in the beginning. But, like, it's nothing. It's a wisp for what is supposed to be this huge occasion in the book. You have characters leave the United States to go to Israel, where all this stuff is happening, where Eli and Moshe are breathing fire and killing people while declaring Christ as Lord. And it's like, done. Let's go meet a teenage girl. Let's have a weird conversation about dating. Why? Why? There is so much in here that was more interesting than having an awkward conversation about Judd wanting a girlfriend during the end of the world. Oh, and that conversation comes out of nowhere and it lasts for about half a page, does nothing, and then it's never brought up again because Judd just gets shipped back while Pastor Barnes moves on to freaking like the Philippines or Singapore. He's just no, I think he's in Singapore. Like, what? The plotting was a mess. Oh, and sorry, I sound so upset. But I am kind of upset because when this book series can be fun, as like when it starts getting a little pulpy and allows itself to tell a more adventurous story, I enjoy it. Now, do I find it overly preachy at times? Yeah. Do I find the characters' inability to have any kind of self-preservation really frustrating? Yes. That comes up a lot because Vicky doesn't know how to shut her mouth when she's about to be put into solitary. Honey, you ain't no use to anybody if you're locked in a room alone. So, maybe don't yell at the chaplain. Oh. And they start to establish the one world religion in this book. Yes. In the end times, Nikolai Carpathia, or in this world, but in the general belief system, is the Antichrist will unite the world, create one world government, one world currency, and one world religion. So we start to get more shades of the one world religion that are coming. And that is done by a cardinal from Cincinnati who starts talking about the new iconography they're going to be using as the one world church is developed. And he basically describes a coexist sticker. Yeah, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to pop one up on the screen if you don't know what it looks like or remember. It's going to be above my finger. That is apparently the sign of the devil in this book. The coexist bumper sticker. All right. So, yes, there is humor to be had in here. There is goofiness. There is some fun pulpiness. But overall, and this isn't because of the Christian content. Let me make that clear. I don't mind that. This is a religious story. Religious content is going to be part of it. I get that. The horrible plotting doesn't need to be. Like, get it together, guys. Hopefully the next book is a little more put together. Although it's another short one. It's only 115 pages. So I'm not holding out hope. But after that, it actually looks like we start to develop more. So maybe it was just they were unsure how to get to this point or to get past this point. Because now that we're in the tribulation, you're going to start having disasters occur. You're going to have other stuff happening that is going to be much more exciting. I do know there's some character deaths coming up. So this is all lead up. I do get that. But this should have felt like more of a substantive piece of the series than what we get. There were whole chunks of this book, like I'm kind of remembering bits and pieces as I'm talking about it, but I just finished this, and a lot of it gone from my brain. There's also some weird formatting stuff, but I don't want to get into that too much. The margins in this book are a mess, and although it also feels like they did that to extend the page count, because it causes the internal margin is pushed so far in that it actually causes the page to be closer to like a smaller column. So it's far fewer words on the page. This feels like it was rushed out. Hopefully the next one is better. Hopefully. All right, I've been ranting and raving about this for 15 minutes. Like I said, if you decide to make it all the way through this, but you're interested in hearing what the other books were about and you haven't watched those videos yet, I have a playlist over on my channel, and I will actually include it in my end boxes. It'll probably be floating like over by the mic, or maybe where I had the Cogs sticker. I don't know. It'll be somewhere on the screen, so you guys can go check those out. I also have the review for the first book in the prequel series, for the adult series called The Rising on there, and that book was particularly painful to read, as I have said before. But, you know, it's all very interesting to examine something that is very modern theology, considering how new a lot of the rapture ideas are as far as Christianity goes. So it's a very interesting series. Plus, you know, it's a pulpy Christian mess. It's fun to talk about. All right. So, as I said at the top of the video, new videos come out here every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I do occasionally throw in a Wednesday video here or there, but I'm really trying to not do those, although I do have a special video coming out the Wednesday before Valentine's Day, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. I'm going to be covering one of Wes Craven's, or his lost film, and when you get closer, when you see that video, you'll understand. Okay, so as I always say, love what you love, enjoy what you're reading and watching, and have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.